County Board of Supervisors. With that being said, we will call the meeting to order. The clerk has taken the roll, and I would ask Supervisor Hokamp to come forward for the invocation. I'd ask everybody to rise for the invocation, and then after the invocation, I'd ask you to be seated again before we do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Heavenly Father, having just celebrated Veterans Day, please bless the men and women who have and are serving our country. Especially grant eternal rest on those who gave the ultimate sacrifice. We are deeply indebted to them for the freedom we enjoy. As we approach the Thanksgiving holiday, help us to be thankful for the gifts that have been bestowed upon us. Encourage us to be mindful of those who are fortunate, those that go to sleep at night hungry, and those that go to sleep with no bed. Also, we pray for those who suffer from any kind of persecution or discrimination. But Heavenly Father, what our world desperately needs the most is your peace. Help mankind, who you created in your image and likeness, to live in harmony, to live in such a way that we enrich and complement each other, because we are stronger together than we are apart. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Please be seated. Normally I go right into, if you'll, I guess I don't want to say digress, but I'm going to take a moment here. Supervisor Zerflu?
If it please the chair, could we pledge allegiance?
Not yet.
Not yet? Sorry, sir.
No, that's why I mentioned this ahead of time. But thank you for reminding me. I normally don't take the opportunity up here from this pulpit to preach, but we did just celebrate Veterans Day. And it's to some extent, it's a celebration, but it's a solemn holiday. We have people who have defended not just this nation, but the idea, the concept, and although sometimes imperfect, the best form of government that we have. And I wanted to, before we do the Pledge of Allegiance, I wanted to recognize those people and those families. We have individuals who made a sacrifice, who served in the military, defended this country and all it represents, and then we have families who also sacrificed because those loved ones were either overseas or here in the United States in defense of that country. So before I do the Pledge of Allegiance, I would ask that all of the veterans in this room, those who have served or those who currently serve, please rise and be recognized. So if you would, I know I have a number of you out there. Your service is so important to this country. It's the reason we have the opportunity to meet here today to express our views and live in a country that is just free. So I'd like to first of all give all of you a round of applause. I'd ask you to raise. And then as Supervisor Zerflu recommended, I'd ask the rest of the body to please rise and join me in the pledge.
I'm trying, I got one arm. Yeah.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. That's greatly appreciated. Like I said, as I attended some of the veteran services, I sometimes have to make a lot of comments up here, but I was appalled as I saw some of the video this week where the American flag was being torn down and flags of other countries were raised above it. And I can guarantee, I've said it here, the flag at this courthouse will always be the flag that flies the highest. We will continue to do that. We will, as a body, defend our rights, our freedoms, our country. And again, our sincere thanks go out to those of you who have served or who continue to serve. So thank you so much. All right, and thank you for the invocation, Supervisor Hokamp. Moving forward, first order of business is the minutes from the previous session. I have a motion by Hamilton and a second by LaFontaine. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Is there any discussion? That motion is to approve. All in favor, please signify by aye.
Aye.
And opposed? And that motion carries. Today we have no excusals. We have no resignations. And with your permission, I'd like to take all these appointments or reappointments together. Is there any objection to that? right, so to the Ethics Committee, a 3-year term for Robert Whitrock and Jeff Conrad. The Civil Service Commission, 5-year term to Robert Leski. The Veterans Service Commission, a 3-year term to Thomas Heiser. And the South Central Library Board of Trustees, a 3-year term to Susan Fee. I have a motion by Lightner, a second by Bry. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor of those appointments or reappointments, please signify by aye.
Aye.
And opposed, and that motion carries unanimously. If it's okay with my board members, I may move a few of these agenda items around today. We're going to have some public comment. I know for a fact that's going to be in regard to a particular resolution, so when we get to that point without objection, after I get through the public comment, I'll probably like to move that, or I'd like to move that resolution to the front of the packet. And that's going to be page 49 at that time. Prior to that, the public comment, Brent, are you in the room? He is. If I may call Brent Brewing forward. Brent is the director of our child support agency, and one of the things I like to do always is recognize those people who make a contribution to our state, to our county, and to society as a whole. And we have one of our board members who received a significant recognition from the child support agency and in regard to her work in the state of Wisconsin. Brent?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today I'm here on behalf of the Wisconsin Child Support Enforcement Association to present an award to supervisor, but today a representative from the 69th District, Representative Donna Rosar. And I want to talk a little bit about what this award is about and what it entailed to achieve it. Every year we give an award to someone in the legislature or the Senate that has done extraordinary work to help move forward the child support program, whether it be for legislation or in this case our budget issue. And Representative Rosar from the very beginning worked extremely hard to help us accomplish that goal. Representative Rosar's willingness to listen and work with local child support agencies across the state to improve the child support program is commendable. Representative Rosar really dug into the funding issue. She took the time to learn how we could leverage more federal funding with an increased investment from the state, which also helped offset local county levy to the program. Her interest in the issue along with her relentless pursuit of securing additional funding was instrumental in the success of the venture. She provided updates during the process and kept the issue front and center as she navigated the budget process. She used her extensive knowledge to educate her colleagues in the legislature on the issue. Representative Rosar pushed the budget motion that ultimately led to a significant increase in child support funding statewide. She truly understands the mission of the program and is willing to do whatever is necessary to move the program forward. Representative Rosar cares deeply about children and families. Her action during the budget ensured that children and families will be better served in the years to come. On behalf of the Wisconsin Child Support Enforcement Association, it is my honor to present Representative Rosar with the WCSEA Legislator of the Year Award.
Well, thank you very much. This is indeed an honor, and when Brett says that I care about children and families, that is really the truth. One thing that I was very excited about was taking my county board experience to the Capitol, because those years have taught me a lot about how what we do in Madison affects what we do in the county. Because as you all know, the county government is nothing but the arm of the state, and so we carry out a lot of things that the state tells us to do. While I appreciate this award very much, and thank you for the nomination, I want you to know that this is a team effort. You don't go down to Madison and unilaterally get stuff done. You have to work with people, you have to educate them. I think I've told you many times, my experience as a cardiac nurse. You know, when I try to tell people about how oral health affects their hearts, they look at me and say, well, I didn't know that. And so it's just a real opportunity to use my varied experiences in the state capitol. Whether, I don't know if you understand how the process works, but I'm not on JFC, have no desire to be on JFC. But those of us who are not on the Joint Finance Committee get assigned a member of the Joint Finance Committee. They're called our budget buddies. And then we meet with our budget buddies and we advocate for the things that we want to see in the budget. Those of us that represent the rural communities do that with adequate transportation funding. We were involved some in the shared revenue package. I fought for increased reimbursement for nursing homes and dental care and things like that. But this child support thing was particularly important to me because I believe in personal responsibility. And I believe that if you participate in the creation of a child, there needs to be some responsibility in supporting that. Should not be the taxpayer's responsibility to do that, and so I felt very strongly that we needed to leverage whatever funding we could at the federal level to encourage and support parents supporting their children. So I was very happy that this went through. Again, there were other people that participated in this advocacy, but I appreciate this award. I appreciate you all being here because it lets you all know that I actually do things down there that hopefully benefit the budget in Wood County, and that's important. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for the recognition, and I'm very proud to receive this plaque. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brent. Thank you, Supervisor Rosar. It's always nice when members of our county board, in this case members of the legislature as well, are recognized at the state level. This brings us to the part of the agenda which is public comment. And we have a couple of rules of public comment, limited to 3 minutes. We have a lot of people here for public comment. I would encourage you to repeat the same thing over and over. You might want to elect a speaker and let that person go longer, but I know each of you have a story that you'd like to tell. We'd ask that you identify yourself when you come to the microphone. It's not required, but many of you who emailed me, texted me, or called me, you know that I tend to call you back. So if you know who you are and we have the ability to touch base, to get input. I had a number of people in my office recently just to talk about some of these issues, try to make sure that we get it right. So with that, we will open up public comment. Please approach the microphone. Yeah, and if all of you making public comment would approach the microphone, we'll make sure that's on.
Can I move this out a little?
Sure.
Hi, my name is Renee Graff, and I'm a resident of town here. Just a quick story. In 2017, my mom and stepdad, I'll get this right, my dad and stepmom were failing. And we called in help, we called in social services to try to get them to understand that they weren't safe at home. There was nothing that we could do, they didn't want to listen to us. And after a long discussion, they were like, yep, you're absolutely right. They are not safe at home. Their house was filthy, their laundry was in the basement. And what we were told is they have the right to make whatever wrong decisions they want to make, unless we wanted to take guardianship of them. And they said, you're probably going to fail at that, because they still were in their right mind. They just were making all the wrong choices. In light of this, 2020 came, and somehow, without our permission, or the ability to go to court, or the ability to speak for ourselves, our government became our guardians. We were told what we had to wear, many were told what they had to put in their bodies, and it was wrong. 100% wrong. Do you know what it was like to stand at a window and watch your father die because the nursing home would not let you in, but would let you stand at the window? They became guardians over our parents. We lost my husband's mother to COVID protocols. Somebody with Alzheimer's who could not see the only person she had seen for the last 5 years of her life. And she died. Thank God she went to the hospital 10 days before she died, because that's the first time my husband got to hug his mother in 6 months. And she died shortly after that. I think that was the grace of God. This can't happen again. It can't happen to the people of Wood County, to the residents of Wisconsin, or of the United States of America. That is why we have our Constitution. We have the right to make whatever stupid choices we want to make. If we choose to take the chance to die of COVID, that's my choice. But it is appointed unto man once to die. That's already predetermined by God when that will happen. If it happens with COVID, it's going to happen with or without a mask, with or without a shot. So I encourage you, do not let this go forward, that you will let the state tell us what to do with our bodies, inside or outside. Thank you.
Thank you. That was pretty perfect timing, too. Further public comment? Please.
Hi, my name is Laura Ewell and I live in Rapids. This has to do with the resolution on the mandates. And my opinion is it really doesn't matter if the masks work or not, although I don't believe that they do. And it really doesn't matter if the vaccines are beneficial or not, even though I do not believe that they are. And being isolated, confined to your homes, I do not believe that is a viable solution either. God himself gave his creation, all of us, brains, free will, and freedom of choice. Even God himself does not use his authority to usurp his creation's choice of how we want to live. Do you think that you are greater than God to do what even God himself will not do? Please stop taking away our freedom of choice and free will. Be a show of force to the governor for us and pass this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Further public comment?
My name's Anita Jasison, resident of Wisconsin Rapids. And I was very pleasantly surprised at the start of this session, you know, honoring our veterans, the flag flying high. I mean, it was the whole package. We said a prayer, which I was very pleasantly surprised. Mentioned God. It's like, I feel like I'm in America again. It was just a wonderful thing to see. But the reality is, these past couple of years, we've been living in some kind of strange dystopian society where the whole world got turned upside down. There was no common sense, no logic whatsoever. I've researched a lot of the things that went on and the protocols put in place during this, I call it the pandemic. And you know, for instance, the masking. I remember over a year ago, I had to go to an eye doctor, and I asked a nurse, when are you gonna take the face diaper off? She goes, everybody here knows they don't work, but they're probably gonna make us wear them forever. And this is coming out of a hospital. And I mentioned this at the Health and Human Services meeting. I read a peer-reviewed, published paper that talked about the flu of 1918, and where the masking of the people were causing more deaths than the flu itself. And it was because of bacterial infections, and there was an anti-vaccine movement going on because a lot of people were dying from these things and getting strange health problems. And you know who the author of that paper was? Dr. Anthony Fauci. Look it up, if it isn't censored by now. And you know, within my own family, 80% have some strange ailments or death. and an ant die of some strange turbo cancer, we call it. They find it and then they're dead. Had nothing to do with any previous health ailments. Cousin that died of a heart attack, a nephew that developed alopecia of all things. That is so rare, and it's also genetic. There is absolutely no history of that. Development of diabetes within my family, there is no history of that. And out of my family, I'm probably one of two that have not gotten that Frankenshot. And I mean, look around you, use your common sense, your logic in that. I know all about statutes, this and that, but I feel we need to stand in solidarity with other counties where we, the people, have a voice and say no. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jean Kelly, Marshfield. First, I want to thank you all for agreeing to act on this resolution today. The resolution is designed to send a message from here forward to the next level of government and to the medical community. It will alert them that we will not allow our human rights to be violated again. It is shameful that many lost the ability to retain employment because they were forced to make the only choice that they were given, to either accept an untested vaccine with unknown results or be fired and give up the means to sustain themselves and their families. Some died because they reacted to the vaccine. It also resulted in family members who suffered and died alone, unable to be comforted by their loved ones. It is shameful that those who invested their life savings in a business and lost it with no means of income due to illegal shutdowns caused many to lose everything, and for some, while feeling helpless, took their own lives. No one should be forced in the United States to be muzzled, poked, or isolated ever again. In accordance to your sworn oath upon entering this office with regards to individual rights, I ask, will you support the voices of the citizens you represent? Will you defend the right to choose liberty without alliance to any political party or corporate agenda which causes political divisiveness? We realize this resolution is not binding. It is, however, a litmus test to indicate where our elected officials stand now and with us in the future. We ask you to vote to pass this resolution that will carry our voice to a higher level of government. It will send a strong statement from the people of Wood County to the state of Wisconsin. Again, please remember, this is not a political position and should not be considered as such. Its purpose is to send a warning. We will fight for the right assured to us in our nation's Bill of Rights, that which protects us from tyrannical restrictions. You swore to uphold the rights that guard citizens the right to choose our own way of life without government or corporate interference. We expect you to honor that oath. It will be apparent if you do not. Those of you who believe and commit to supporting freedom for all county and state residents will say thank you in advance. Vote yes. And thank you.
Further public comment?
Good morning. My name is Tom Muse, also a resident of Wisconsin Rapids. My family has been impacted extremely heavily from the procedures of the mandates. I've lost my brother. I've lost a father figure. I've also have 3 children that were exposed to this at a different school, and through the process, the parents formed a PTA to overrule the school board over the mandates. Today, my mom is now set up for hospice care. She has been struggling through the medical system for the last 5 years. During that time, the mandates deteriorated her health. My wife is also a medical care worker at Marshall Clinic in Marshall. She works in the pediatric department, and she tells me the horror stories of the children that were exposed to the mandates and the restrictions to meeting their parents inside the rooms during those years. The impact of the actions of the government of Wisconsin has literally caused physical and mental stress on every one of its citizens. Those that have decided not to take the vaccine and stand up against the mask are literally fighting with the excuse of common sense. The citizens that are using common sense are literally fighting a war against the government. I would suggest that the board pass a resolution today to reinstate the freedoms and liberties as a veteran that I fought for. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. If you can move that microphone up, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm Mike O'Reilly from Marshfield. This is based on COVID-19 government, OSHA, and employer violations that happen. No state can create a standard without approved emergency temporary standards, ETS, in place. Therefore, no mandates regarding vaccines, facial coverings, social distancing, etc. were legal. Employers coercing employees by enforcing these mandates is a violation of our civil liberties. Congress did not authorize centers for Medicare and Medicaid, CMS, to enact these mandates. There are no emergency standards because the OSH Act of 1970 places OSHA under the legislative branch. For this reason alone, ETS is illegal and can't be enforced. Infectious diseases are not considered workplace hazards. And OSHA has no jurisdiction or authority in this area. In 2009, OSHA letter of interpretation states OSHA cannot require employees to take vaccines, but an employer may do so. Any employee can refuse and be protected under Section 11C of OSHA Act of 1970. Given the extensive list of adverse events associated with the vaccine, it's unreasonable that any employer can legally mandate. OSHA requires employers to provide workers with personal protective equipment. Face coverings are not a control method for an aerosol virus. Masks also cannot meet the provisions of respiratory protection standards 29 CFR 1910-1.134. Neither masks nor vaccines fall under OSHA's hierarchy of controls. The Cochrane and Denmark study of 3,000 people wearing masks and 3,000 people not wearing showed no statistical difference in disease rate. Our government also breached humanitarian laws established for wartime through the Geneva Conventions of 1949. The willful killing or causing great harm, simply review the government's own VAERS and VSafe data. Inhumane treatment, including biological experiments, these are experimental vaccines. PCR COVID tests being with ethylene oxide forced on employees regularly. These are some of the medical, scientific, and legal aspects of COVID-19 response, but we must address the constitutionality. This is the first time in American history that medical freedom and civil liberties are secondary to government mandates. When an individual no longer has body autonomy and the government has control to mandate face coverings, inject unknown substances, and with experimental ingredients, close their businesses, etc., where does it end? Please honor your oath.
Thank you. See everybody look around Jax?
Good morning, everybody. I'm Dorothy Schnitzler from Marshfield, Wisconsin. I'm very thankful that this is an opportunity to be heard. Okay, all 19 of you, when you vote, whether it be yes or no, affects all the people in our county. I wonder how you do come to the conclusion of a yes or no vote. Do you really listen? I hope you have today to listen to these greatly spoken people. Since COVID happened, our governor, of course, you know that, placed mandatory masks and jabs. Workers were let go if they refused the COVID experimental jab. And businesses were closed. And they lost their way to make a living, which, by the way, should never have happened. There's enough truth on really happened a planned operation, I say, to take down America. Well, you say improvement. I say wake up before it is too late. The damage has been done, as it has been documented on a site called VAERS. So we hold you all accountable to vote yes for this referendum. Thank you so much for your time, for all to speak for freedom. As they say, my body, my choice. Thank you, everyone.
Do we have anybody else? Any other public comment? Yes, second. We're covered? All right. Looks like we wrapped up public comment. Appreciate the latitude if we can take that. I know we have a lot of people here that may have other obligations as well. Page 49 in your packet is the resolution that deals with basically all the public comment and the resolution that came forth from the Health and Human Services Committee. Anybody object to us taking that at this point in time? All right, Trent, County Clerk, I'd ask you to please read that.
This will be Resolution 23-11-1 to express the county board's desire to prioritize the civil liberties of its citizens when the county is dealing with a public health crisis. Fiscal note, nothing direct to the county.
A motion by Butke, I have a second by Fisher. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Supervisor Clendon?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I listened, I was at the Health and Human Services Committee also. But I'd like the people to know that, well, that it was mentioned by Representative Rosar, is the fact that the county and the county board is an arm of the state legislature. And it even goes further than that to say that the Health and Human Services Committee, I thought, took the wrong approach on this issue. We have what we call steering committees at the level of the counties association. And when we get into these tough situations such as this, in the health department, these are the people that are suffering from the COVID and had to go into homes or didn't have to go into homes or couldn't because of a law and stuff like that. And what they did is a lot of the other counties in the state are sending this same, what I call a feel-good resolution, and if you don't vote for this, we're not voting for you type of thing. I just think that's tragic for people to go that far, and especially for the Health and Human Services Committee, who we got great people working in there and have to go to these homes. And they practically get beat up for what they did, what they had to do, and what they were told to do. In 2011 is when I think 2000, when it went into effect, I believe it's statute 323, in which says that the governor has the authority to issue this mandate. And that's what we're working on. We want the governor to stop issuing these things. And how we do that at a county level, and I'd like to see it happen here today. And how we do that at a county level is we take the Health and Human Services and go to their steering committee, which meets probably two times a year. and I served on the county's resolutions committee, that these different resolutions that come before counties would go to the annual convention and have it. Not once did I see from any of these counties a resolution about this issue, about mandating that. Here's what this should be. Individuals should be contacting their legislators. We should be contacting our legislators here at the county level. And we should also be contacting the governor. And how we do that is we go through this steering committee. And the steering committee, it works out, I think the steering committee is 12 years old. A person that was in the lead at the Counties Association issued this, and we have them. I'm chairman of the Judicial and Legislative Committee, and I go to the Legislative and Safety Committee. I believe there's 5 different committees throughout the state that cover this. So I would like to amend the motion to send this on to our legislators and the governor and whoever else, because it's just feel good, folks. I'm telling you, we do that every day. Or I mean, every time we meet, people call their legislators. I'm with the Towns Association, we have the same thing. The League of Municipalities have the same thing. They have people that can take this and go to the governor and go to the legislators. So I would amend the motion to say, to send this back to the Health and Human Services Committee for them to enter it into their steering committee with the Health and Human Services and go from there. I'm gonna tell you folks, that's how we get things done that we can't get done the way we thought we should be. We go to these steering committees and the committee is what they do is they get together and they go to the legislators if they think this is important. So I would hope I would get a second to that motion and we see how that goes. Thank you.
Supervisor Clendenning, I want clarification. So, under the be it further resolved, you'd like this, as already stated, directed to the governor, the state of Wisconsin Department of Health Services, appropriate members of the legislature, as well as the Wisconsin County Association, the League of Municipalities, and the Towns Association, is that?
No, I would like to send this back to the Health and Human Services Committee for them to do it with their group.
So, I'm gonna ask Peter, I don't know, that would be a no vote on the resolution, not an amendment to the resolution. I mean, amending the resolution to send it back.
It would be neither, Mr. Chairman.
Well, that helps.
A motion to refer back to the committee.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it does require a second, it can be debated, it can be amended, requires a majority. So that's what I interpret here.
So you're looking at a motion to refer this back to committee?
I believe that's what the.
Yeah, that
And
is
not amend
exactly.
the resolution, so to speak.
Correct.
So we have a motion to refer this back to committee by Supervisor Clendenning for further consideration. Is there a second to his motion? Is there a second to his motion?
Second that.
And a second by Supervisor Tao. So we have a motion and a second to refer this back to the Health and Human Services Committee. I will open up discussion. Is there any discussion? Supervisor Fisher.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would just say the Health and Human Services Committee has now talked about this twice, 2 months in a row. The vote was, I believe, the first time 7-1, the second time 8-1 to approve this resolution. So I understand what Supervisor Clendenning, I believe I understand what he's trying to accomplish, but I don't see, in my opinion, anything changing. I think today we either decide if we're going to approve the resolution as is, or if we're not. Thank you.
Any further discussion, and this discussion is in regard to referring this back to the committee. Supervisor Bucky? No? Anybody else? Any further discussion? Supervisor Bucky?
I just want to comment on
part of what Supervisor Clendenning has said. Was on the county council for Marshfield for 22 years, been on the county board going on a couple of years and previous to that. I do not I'm not influenced by the people coming to speak. I've always used common sense. It's not political. This is common sense to do this. I mean, come on, folks. I mean, you can get all the procedural thing that you want, but like Mr. Fisher has said, it was really lopsided on the vote, and I'm doing what I think is right, common sense wise, and I've always done that. I will continue to do that, even if somebody threatens me to not vote for me.
All right, so we're still dealing with the motion to refer this back to the committee. Is there any further discussion on that? Supervisor Clendenning.
I just gotta tell you people that, what's the sense of having these committees, these steering committees at all? I don't know how this even started at the Health and Human Services Committee. And without them just thinking, we should talk about this to people who can really do something about it. I mean, and they can really do something about it. Us just sending a resolution isn't gonna do a darn thing. Not one damn thing is this gonna do. How many of you people called your legislators and thought this was a good idea? And if you thought this was a good idea, why didn't you call your legislators and the governor's office and post it? It's just a feel-good thing, folks. Do it right. Go to the counties association and get it done that way.
All right, I'm gonna try this way first. We have a motion to refer this back to the committee. Is there any further discussion on that? So this is in regard just to referring back to the committee. I'm gonna try this by voice vote. All in favor of referring back to committee, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please signify.
No.
No. I think the noes have it there. Supervisor Clendenning, you're the one who brought this forth. Would you agree with that, or do you want me to go to the board?
No, I agree with that.
Okay. All right, moving forward. Yeah. So we do have a motion, we do have a second on the resolution as presented. Is there any further discussion on that? Supervisor Rozar first, then I'll go to Supervisor Tauber.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have had my say about this on numerous occasions, but I just want to reiterate a couple of things. In the resolution, there is a phrase in the 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth whereas and the last whereas, well, that's not true. In the last whereas and in the now therefore, that says unless required by law. And I want to remind everybody that there are statutory authorities at many levels of the government. The Wisconsin Legislative Council put out an issue brief in September of 2023 that you can find online. Just go to the Wisconsin Legislative Council and go to issue briefs. I distributed this at the last Health and Human Services Committee, made 75 copies and handed them out. But it's a very accessible document, and it talks about the statutory authority of the governor, the Department of Health Services, the local unit of government, local health officer, and the school board. So I would not be able to support this resolution if that phrase were not in there, because there are laws that need to be followed, and we don't want increased liability in this unit of government by not following laws. And so I appreciate that that phrase was put in there. I know that there's also been a lot of discussion about nursing homes, and I have to tell you all, my own mother died after getting COVID in a nursing home, and the last visit I had with her was with a barrier and 6 feet away, and it was a very sad situation. But I want to remind people that nursing homes followed CMS guidelines, And had they not done that, we would have lost our funding and there would have been no place for people to go in nursing homes. So they're absolutely correct. You know, a lot of this came down from the federal government. And I know that a lot of people that administered nursing homes felt bad about what they were doing to keep loved ones from their family members. And so there's a whole lot more to what happened that sometimes I think we scratch the surface, and I don't believe that we have sometimes a full understanding in 3 minutes or 5 minutes about what needs to be done. I will support this resolution. I look forward to getting it. My staff comes to me at the Capitol and says, we got this resolution from Wood County, and I say, I've already seen it. So I look forward to getting this. As many of you know, the state legislature tried very hard to restore people's individual freedoms and rights. A lot of that legislation was vetoed by the governor. And so I appreciate the individual, Mr. Chairman, that stood up and said how much they appreciated our prayer and our Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. We are that kind of a county board. We appreciate this country. We want to protect people's individual freedoms and their constitutional rights. I remember, and you may remember this, Mr. Chairman, when we got a letter from the Freedom of Religion people telling us to stop saying prayers before our county board. And I believe your comment at that time was, bring it on. You know, we will defend that and be able to do that. So I want the people that are here to know that we have stood up for the Judeo-Christian principles upon which this country was founded. And thank you for allowing me to speak briefly on this, and I will be a yes on this resolution.
Supervisor Todd.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I usually don't like to talk, but on this subject I would like to talk and inform the board that, like Bill said, this is a feel-good resolution. What we pass today will not make effect at any other levels. I think we have to take other avenues to get this sorted out. Don't take me wrong, I don't like other people telling me what to do too, but at the same time, I cannot vote for a resolution that's going to hold this board hostage if another mandate comes down. They're going to look at this and they're going to tell us, hey, live up to the resolution. Are we going to reject what the state or federal tell us? We don't have that authority. They tell you to shut down, you shut down. They tell us to sit 6 feet apart. What do? We sat 6 feet apart. It wasn't from our health department. They didn't tell us to do that. It came down from the state and from the federal government. So in voting yes on this, it's not going to make a difference. We have to do something else to make a difference. And to me, it's not like we're threatening words from other constituents or anything. I am not one to lie to my constituents. By signing this, I'm going to lie to them that I'm going to help them and protect them if another mandate comes down. I cannot do that with this resolution. And so my vote would be no. And I hope that the county board can take a look at this and see the liability that's going to fall upon our shoulders if we pass this resolution, because our constituents are looking up to this resolution to, for us to follow this resolution if another mandate comes down. Thank you.
Supervisor Fisher.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One thing I'd like to say is I keep hearing the term feel-good resolution, and I think in the past I've used that term as well. I think it's a term that gets thrown around quite a bit. I've been on the county board since 2016, and I have lost count of the amount of feel-good resolutions that I have been presented while sitting here amongst my peers. Feel-good resolutions come because people are passionate about that issue. One issue in particular is water. We have had a lot of resolutions about clean water, and I've heard people say there's no teeth to this, but I'm gonna vote for it because I wanna send a message. We have people who are passionate about this issue and wanna send a message. And they are asking their county board to vote yes. I am voting yes, not because people have made public comments. I am voting yes because I believe in individual rights. At the end of the day, I believe people should have the right to make their own decision. And I have always believed that, I believe that, and as I've said at 2 meetings, I hope I always believe in that, because I believe that's what makes this country great, is that we give people the right to make their own decisions. And we even give people the right who've been elected to make their own decisions. And so I'm gonna do that today. I'm gonna make my own decision, and I'm gonna make the decision to vote for this resolution. Even though it may be a feel-good resolution, I still wanna send a message to people at the state and let them know that I would like the choice whether or not, for example, to wear a mask. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Further discussion? Supervisor Clendening.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I stood up because I'm a veteran. I served from 1961 to 1966, active duty. And at that time, they were looking for a way to stop, well, the polio was already out of there. They already found that out, but now they were working on the flu shot. And we were experimental, well, us in the service at that time. I went overseas 3 times, and each time I went overseas, I got 13 shots. And I never asked what they were for or why, and some people did refuse them, said it was their right not to have a shot, and they got an undesirable discharge from the Navy that day. And I got very sick from an experimental drug there, and it was caused by an experimental drug. I spent 6 days in the hospital for it, and I thought, why shouldn't I get paid for this? And I tried to, but it didn't work, because the Navy said you're going to get those shots, and you can get those shots. But I still say, folks, we got to go to the Counties Association and do this. Thank you.
All right, any further discussion? Further discussion. All right, you have the resolution before you. Trent, are you ready?
I'm ready as soon as they are.
All right, then I would ask you to please vote. That resolution passed 14-5. 14-5. I'm gonna address with what Mr. Clendening said. It's true, and I have a little bit of influence at the Counties Association. I will expedite this thought to the board, which can do in effect direct legislation, if you want to call it that way, or direct our platform to deal with this in a way that might get some more support. It will certainly be something that is vetted through the steering committee and then through the platform at the WCA. And to Supervisor Clendening said, there's a process, there's a way to maybe get things done more effectively and more efficiently. And I wrote this down already. I'll make sure that gets done. I have a meeting next week already. So thank you. And thank you for all the public comment. We appreciate that. I don't know if all of you are hanging around for the rest of the meeting. All right, our vice chair is asking me to take a 3-minute recess to let everybody get out of the room who wants to exit, because there'll be a little bit of noise there. So if you want to take a quick 3-minute recess, we will come back. Get started on that. We're page 4, we're referrals for November, resolution for Allegheny County, and this is to revise the statutes granting authority for siting utility scale solar installations. To Supervisor Clendening's point before, this is something that the WCA Board of Directors and their steering committee are taking up. So we're working on that one. All right, minutes of the Operations Committee, their meeting of October 17th on 5 and 6. The Operations Committee meeting of Tuesday, November 7th on 7, 8, and 9. Monthly letter of comments from the clerk on 10, 11, 12, and 13, and part of that is just how to structure and take minutes. Did you read that?
Yeah, I noticed that, yeah.
Since he's not
Written
taking
by a
all
very
minutes.
wise person, I can tell you that.
All right, we move to monthly letter of comments from the Human Resources Department, beginning on 14, and it runs through page 18. And then we have the monthly update from the Treasurer's Office on 19, Employee Wellness on page 20, and then this brings us to the first resolution in your packet. The second one will be handled today, and I'd ask the clerk to please read the resolution.
This will be Resolution 23-11-2 to establish Wood County's tax levy for the 2023 collectible in 2024. Fiscal note, this resolution establishes the tax levy for the 2023 Wood County budget. The total levy is $33,955,608, the components of which are the following listed below. I'm not going to read them again because Wagner did already, so.
Okay, I have a motion by Supervisor Hamilton, I have a second by Supervisor Bry. Is there any discussion on this? Any discussion? All right, please vote.
No, we won't know now.
Well, I had Katie put new batteries in, so it should be all working, hopefully.
They used to be my phone.
That resolution passed 18-1. 18-1.
I thought Katie had fixed that one too.
Brings us to the second resolution that was in your packet on page 22, the second one that deals with the budget.
This will be Resolution 23-11-3, the adoption of the 2024 Wood County budget. Fiscal note, this resolution adopts the 2024 Wood County budget of $164,151,705, including the appropriations, revenues, and the use of fund balances proposed by the Operations Committee as outlined in the 2024 Wood County proposed budget document.
A motion by Clendenning, a second by Voigt. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? I'd ask you to please vote.
It's the green button, Lynch. No, it's the green button, Lynch. It's the green button.
Green button.
Yeah.
He's colorblind.
That resolution also passed 18.
It's cool.
I was making a comment to the clerk before I said, you know, we have a lot of passion, as Supervisor Fisher pointed out, in a full room on public comment. But when it comes to 164 million.
That's all right, don't worry about it.
All right, moving forward in the packet. Minutes of the Health and Human Services Committee, their meeting from Thursday, October 26th, it's pages 23 to 28. And as was referenced before, I think there were 86 people at that meeting, most of which made public comment. Takes me to page 29, which is the Edgewater Haven Donation Ad Hoc Committee meeting, their meeting of October 26th. And then we go to the monthly update from the Health Department, beginning on 30, it runs through 35. And we have the monthly update from the Human Services Department, begins on page 36, and that runs through page 44, 36 to 44. Going kind of fast, any questions there? The Veteran Service Officers report on 45 and 46. And then there's a issue brief that was referred to earlier in the meeting, 47 and 48. And then that brings me to a resolution on page 50 in your packet. This one brought forth by the Public Safety.
This will be Resolution 23-11-4, to authorize Wood County to enter into an agreement and seek funding under Wisconsin Statutes 165.90 for law enforcement services on restricted tribal lands. Fiscal note, $22,826.
I have a motion by Hamilton, a second by Bragg. Discussion. Any discussion? I ask you to please vote. That resolution passed 19-0.
You found the green button.
All right, moving forward in the packet, the Conservation, Education, Economic Development Committee meeting of November 1st, 51 through 53. Then we have various minutes from the Golden Sands Resources Conservation Development Council, beginning with their Personnel and Finance Committee meeting of September 21st. All of those minutes are on 54 through 62. 54 through 62. We have the monthly update from UW Extension, 63 through 67, 63 to 67. And then we have the monthly letter of comments from our Land and Water Conservation Department. Those begin on 68, and they run through page 73. We have the Citizens Groundwater Group meeting, Monday, October 17th, on 74 and 75. Monthly comments from Planning and Zoning, beginning with Director Grunenberg's on 76, and those run through page 79. And then that brings us to the resolution on page 80 in the packet.
This will be Resolution 23-11-5, to approve an amendment to the Town of Saratoga zoning ordinance. Fiscal note, no cost to Wood County. The Town of Saratoga is responsible for any costs associated with administering their town zoning ordinance.
I have a motion by Zerflu and a second by Lightning. Discussion. Any discussion on this resolution?
Oh, wait a minute.
Okay, I'd ask you to vote. And the resolution passed 19-0. Moving forward, back at page 81 begins the minutes of the Judicial and Legislative Committee meeting on November 2nd. That's 81, 82, and 83. And then we have minutes of the Criminal Justice Task Force on 84, 5, and 6. There is notice of injury and claim, some supporting documentation on 87 and 88. And then we have the monthly update from the Child Support Agency on page 89. From the Clerk of Courts on 90. Corp Counsel on 91. Register and Probate 92. Victim Witness, page 93. The State Wildlife Advisory Committee minutes from July 10th are on page 94. And then we have the Accounting Supervisors Report, 95, 96, and 97. And then the Park and Forestry Department reports beginning on 98, and they run through page 104. As we're moving forward in the packet here, the next one is a resolution from Highway Infrastructure and Recreation. This is one that, I'm going to ask a question. I may want to speak to it. I'm guessing there's a number of people in this room who want to speak to it. I know the Vice Chair does. So that would mean either Mr. Zerflu, you're going to take this, or the body just says, go ahead and speak to the resolution if you want to when that happens. Is there any objection to me speaking to the resolution when we get to that point? No? Yes, sir. All right. Then I'll keep the hammer up here. I've only used it once, and that was to get Donna seated today. So, we'll go from there. So I'd ask the clerk to please, I'd ask the clerk to please read the resolution.
This will be Resolution 23-11-6, to retain the current holiday schedule for the Highway Department of holidays scheduled during 10-hour shifts being paid at 10 hours, Memorial Day and Independence Day. Fiscal note, none.
I have a motion by Brian and a second by Han. All right, discussion. Supervisor Han.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to give just a brief background on the resolution before us today. During the summer months of operation, the County Highway Department works 4 10-hour days. This is by far the most efficient use of county resources. But because of that practice, there are 2 holidays that fall on a 10-hour workday. Historically, highway staff has just taken the day off, a 10-hour holiday, because it's under a 10-hour day of operation. In the last several months, there have been discussions about highway paying back 2 of those hours for each day, and then potentially coming in Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve, or however those 2 hours will be paid back. Those discussions culminated in a vote by the Operations Committee. I think it was 3-1. to change how the highway department structures that holiday time during the summer. And the resolution before us would allow the county highway department to continue the practice of just taking a 10-hour holiday on Memorial Day and the 4th of July. This is no cost to the county, and it's gonna preserve a lot of highway morale for $0 from the county. I obviously support this resolution, and I ask you to vote yes also. Thank you.
Further discussion? Supervisor Vance?
I'm trying not to get feedback. I hope you can hear me. So this is frustrating, in my opinion, because like Supervisor Hunt mentioned, we did address this in the Operations Committee at pretty extensive length. And we worked in collaboration with Human Resources to try to understand how to best make this fair across all the departments, and decided to hold Highway Department accountable to the same amount of vacation as the rest of the departments. We made that decision, and then the HERC Committee came back with this to try to undo the decision that was made with all of the work that we had done in it. I'm frustrated. I think that we need to keep all of our departments accountable to the same amount of vacation. And I can speak at further length if there are any specific questions, but I will not be supporting this resolution.
Further discussion? Supervisor Clendenning?
I will be supporting the resolution. I think the Operations Committee, yes, took it up. And I believe the vote was really 3-2, because one person wasn't there. It's basically a no vote. It just seems like the Operations Committee goes along, and obviously they don't really care about our employees. And I'm going to say that because it really showed up in the vote when we went to 3% of a raise. People from the Operations Committee got up and spoke and said we can't afford it, this and that. Not one of them said we got good employees, they're good workers, you know what I mean, but we just can't do that. And I disagree with that. This here was done in the year 2002, as far as I can remember, and it's when we had unions. And the union put this in that they get this. And then Act 10 came along, and we still continue to have it. It has never been taken away. All of a sudden, we're going to take it away because some other departments want it and this and that. No, I'm voting for this. I think it's ridiculous that what we spend through HR with Carlton Denton and all these just to raise somebody's wages, lets the county board determine this. Thank you.
Supervisor Wagner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just turned it off. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Now you're off. Right the other way.
Yes, thank you. I can tolerate a lot of things, but one of the things that I have trouble tolerating is saying that I or members of my committee don't value our employees. I think the reason that we had a different opinion as to what needed to be done and how it should be done with the highway department stemmed from the fact that we wanted to help all employees. We wanted the pay and benefit package to be equal. We wanted to do it right so that nobody could say, well, you always show deference to the highway committee, or you always show deference to another committee, or Health and Human Services, or you name it. No, that has nothing to do with it. What it has to do with is making sure it's fair and equitable. And that's the thing that is starting to, I think we addressed this at the end of the meeting last week, or weeks, just soon, just not too long ago, that one of the things is that the way the rules are written is that when a resolution comes to us from another committee that wants to change either the salary or the benefits for the employees and under their jurisdiction, under their oversight, and we say no, we need to pay attention to this wage study that we paid $70,000 for. And they say, oh, no, we want to go beyond that, you know, and what they do is they do an end run and come back here and then try and go down. Laura was just absolutely right about that. The thing that I'm saying is, we want to recognize how this is done, but we want to make sure every employee is treated the same way. I mean, that's rule number one of a good HR management. And I think that's what we want to do. So I'm going to vote against this thing, and and I think I might have been the one present that voted against it. I'm sure Mr. Clendenning would point that out if it were true. So anyway, that's where I stand on this, and I thank you for your time and attention.
Further public comment? Not public comment, sorry about that. So I engage that. Other discussion. I'll just make some brief comments then, and we'll obviously keep this discussion open. But from my perspective, and I'm going to touch this, every one of our county board supervisors tends to advocate on behalf of the departments in which they oversee, and I get that. I looked at this as kind of generally unfair. We're not talking about earned vacation. We're talking about holiday pay. We have county employees that get 10 paid holidays, not vacation, holidays. And we have minimally 200 other affected employees in this county that fall under kind of similar situations. And it might not even be where they're not scheduled, they call, they're actually scheduled on these holidays. You know, but you have adult and child protective service workers, you have dispatch, you have the sheriff's department, you have people in corrections. There are all kinds of people that work under similar circumstances where they might not know if they get called in. The 40-hour week is still a 40-hour week, they just work 4 10s in the summer. My concern is it's hard to imagine that a specific department gets additional holiday pay. And I guess what I'm going to reiterate is something that the vice chair said and Supervisor Wagner. What if next month the Human Services Department comes to us and says, well, our people would like 88 hours of holiday pay. And the next week it's another department because they say our nurses are out doing home health care visits or other situations. And I just looked at this and 10 days of paid holiday is a significant amount of days off in addition to your vacation. And I looked at I also get a check as well from Berkshire Hathaway. We don't get anywhere near 10 paid holidays a year. I'm not advocating we take it away. My take on this was maybe inadvertent originally. There was some, possibly an oversight on those of us who looked at this when it happened. But one of the comments made at the committee meeting, I was there, and I respect, the hard part for me is I respect everybody on that committee when we had these discussions. They said it's hard to take it away from 30 or 40 people. I said it's really hard to explain to 600 other ones that one department's getting more than the rest. So I'll leave it at that, and that's why on this particular one, I will vote no. But I will open this up for further discussion. I don't want to have the last word. Further discussion? Come on, I don't want to have the last word. Anybody else? All right, with nobody else, I'd ask you to please vote. Mr. Chairman, I hit the wrong button. Can we reset that? I haven't practiced this a lot.
It's the red button, Lance.
Can you reset that board?
No, we'll make the notation.
Okay, my vote to no vote. Mr. Winch had me all confused.
So 15-4.
Okay, so that resolution passed almost unanimously, 16-4. All right, moving forward in the package.
15-4.
15-4, yeah, I'm sorry. I can't add either. It's a long day. All right, I forgot mine was up there the wrong way. Property and Information Technology Committee, they're meeting from Monday, November 6th on 106, 7 and 8. The update from the IT department on 109, 110 and 111. And then the monthly letter of comments from the facilities manager on 112. The South Central Library System Board of Trustees from 9/28 on 113 and 114. And that gets me through the packet today. Next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, December 19th. County Clerk, do you have anything? I know you've got stuff on people's desks.
First, if I may, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I want my staff to have 88 hours. You'll see a resolution next month. Okay, just saying. That was me being a smartass. You can laugh, it's fine. Legislative conference, how many are going? You guys got the email probably 2 days ago. How many are going? How many want to go? I got Clendenning.
Do you need to count me in if I pop in?
No, well, yeah. Just because I'm afraid I'm going to lose out on hotels if I don't
Oh,
know.
but I don't need a hotel, I just want to pop into the
Right,
meeting.
and that's fine, so I just register you, that's fine.
I would highly encourage anybody who can get to the Ledge Exchange to go to the Ledge Exchange. It's one of the, it's maybe
It's a
the
Monday,
most
Tuesday?
setting and best meeting you can go to all year.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
6th and 7th of February, right?
Yeah, I think so, it's in your email. You all got the
I don't
email.
have it. I just got my emails to fire up, just now. I went to the public county board, finally got my emails.
Okay, so how many are going?
I'm going.
Okay, so I got Pensacola.
And if you haven't decided yet, get a hold of the county
Hamilton.
clerk rather quickly, because he's right, the hotel rooms
Yeah,
go away,
hotel rooms, yeah.
and then you're off site.
Okay. So Clendenning, Rosark, Pensacola, Hamilton, yes?
Yes.
Okay, also on your desk are your nomination papers. That process starts December 1st for circulation. You can file your campaign finance statement and your declaration of candidacy now, if you wish. What I will tell you is that the exemption that you claim every year is kind of different now. It's up to $2,500 and it's aggregate. So that means you can't spend any more than $1,250. You have a $1,250 income, you got $1,250 expense, which is aggregate $2,500. So keep that in mind as you make your decision how many signs you're gonna buy. If anybody buys signs. So if anybody wants to stop in and get those taken care of, you're more than welcome to do so. If you want some one-on-one time, let me know. Stop in, probably not today. Later this afternoon would be fine, but we can get you all set up then. That's it for me.
Anything else that needs to come before the board?
And if you're not running, I need that declaration of candidacy by the 21st.
Non-candidacy.
Non-candidacy. Declaration of non-candidacy, if you're not running. By the 21st, because we're not here the 22nd on the day that it's due, I will hunt you down. You haven't returned papers in. I will find you.
Okay, Supervisor Hamilton?
December or November?
December 21st,
Yes, yes.
in my office.
All right, thank you all for your time. Have a great Thanksgiving. Be safe out there if you're out hunting. And have a good holiday season. We'll talk to everybody soon, December 19th.